Hello! Match days 3 and 4 of the Euro 2024 qualifiers have officially ended by the time this video has been uploaded. But at the time of this current recording, only the first portion of match day 3 has finished. I'm going to be reacting to all of my predictions that I made one by one essentially after each and every day. If you're not new around here, you know the drill. I'm going to be keeping track of how many predictions I got correct in terms of guessing correctly who actually won the match or if it was a draw. Please, before we begin this reaction video, drop an early like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into what I had to say for this first portion of match day 3. Starting out with Finland versus Slovenia. This matchup, anything's possible here. I'm going to say it's a draw though. Slovenia are able to scrape 1 point. This will be Finland's first match at home, but I do think Slovenia can still continue to prove their worth and remain confident. So I'm going to say they're able to stay undefeated, but only gaining 1 point. Am I surprised I got this wrong? Absolutely not. Finland were the home side, and they definitely had the motivation to redeem themselves. They needed to grab a win against Slovenia as they were the only undefeated side in that group, but no more. Now, anything's up in the air. At the time of this recording, all of the sides, apart from Northern Ireland and San Marino, share 6 points. Everything's been going back and forth. Excited to see what happens in match day 4. I'm sure many people potentially got this prediction correct. Not a good start for me, but let's move on to the next match. Now taking a look at Malta versus England. Obviously, England are the heavy favorites going into this. Malta's best player, Tede Teuma, looks to be just returning from injury, so he should be making an appearance. Regardless, though, I still think England got this in the bag. Sorry, Malta. I'm saying England are able to win away 4-0. Let's go. My first actual prediction correct was also a correct scoreline. England got a very solid away win against Malta. There's no surprise there. But one of the biggest talking points about this match was Trent Alexander-Arnold's goal. Him playing as a number 10 as well. He had a brilliant performance. England are cleaning up this group very nicely. Now for Latvia versus Turkey. Obviously, Turkey are the favorites on paper here, but do not sleep on Latvia. These sides are already familiar with each other in the last World Cup qualifier campaign as they were in the same group. The first time they faced each other, Latvia were able to grab a 3-3 thriller draw against Turkey. And then the second time, Turkey narrowly beat them away. Turkey, even with all the incredible players they possess, just randomly slip at moments. You never know when it's going to happen. I do think they'll be halted at some point. I said this in the last video, and I thought it would be to Armenia, but I'm going to go for it being this time around. Maybe this will be a bad trend that I do every single match day prediction video, but I am going to say Turkey only grab 1 point here and it finishes in a 2-2 draw. This is so frustrating to get wrong. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy for Turkey. But this match was absolute drama as there was a red card and then 2 goals in stoppage time. It looked to be over after Tober scored in the 94th minute, but then straight after Kaveci for Turkey scores in the 95th to make it 2-3. So close to getting this right. Kaveci absolutely ruined my prediction, but brilliant from Turkey to respond in this fantastic manner. They did not give up until the final whistle, and they picked up a massive 3 points because, like I said, do not mess with Latvia. They obviously don't look to be favorites to qualify for the Euros, but my point stands that they put off fantastic fights. Now for Macedonia versus Ukraine. This is going to be a huge battle as for both these sides, it would put them at a massive advantage. They want any chance to qualify for the Euros. I am going to edge it towards Ukraine. I'm sorry, Macedonia. Prove me wrong. I'm going to go for Ukraine winning this match 3-1. Wow, again, a very close scoreline, but at least I got the winner correct this time. But Macedonia, what the hell happened here? They had the 2-0 lead, and Ukraine absolutely came back in style. Mudryk with 2 fantastic assists. He's been a terrible signing for Chelsea so far, but he genuinely looks to be back in form. And then Sigankov cleans up at the end to secure Ukraine the win, finishing 2-3. Ukraine also played a friendly against Germany earlier where they drew 3-3. But just like Macedonia did for them, they did blow a heavy lead in that match. So honestly, based off of these scorelines, Ukraine do not look to have some kind of solidified structure, at least in the defense. Very much have that attacking spirit though. We'll see if they can carry on, but it's going to be tough against these massive powerhouses in their group, England and Italia. Nice to see Mudryk back on track, but very disappointing that Macedonia had to blow this lead, man. Now taking a look at Kosovo versus Romania, a massive matchup in this group, the group of life. Most people are predicting Romania to qualify for the Euros, and I don't blame y'all for thinking that, but I made a bold take at the beginning saying Kosovo have a very solid chance to get their first ever Euro qualification. Might not age well at all, but I am going to say that the hope stays alive for this matchup and Kosovo grab a very exciting 3-2 victory. Well, it was far from that. It finished in a 0-0 draw. Kosovo's 3rd draw. Hey, they're still undefeated in the group, but they really should be doing better as Romania is undefeated as well. This is a great opportunity to grab 3 points and advance in the group. For some reason, they seem to lack that firepower up top because although they did get a goal against Israel, it was an own goal. So the only goal they have scored in this qualifier campaign campaign so far was against Andorra. Now moving on to Greece versus Ireland. This is a very tough matchup to call. Both these sides need to have high hopes as they're also in a very tough group with Netherlands and France. Ireland do have a lot of exciting young talent though, and they very much proved themselves against France. Despite losing, they put off a fantastic fight, just losing by 1 goal. And it was a bit of a fluke one as well. They easily could have grabbed a point in that match. Greece, on the other hand, grabbed a solid win against Gibraltar, so they have a better position in the standings. There's a lot of exciting players on this side, like Bakasetas, who was fantastic in the Turkish league, Palvidis, who was phenomenal for Alkmaar this season, of course, Samikas from Liverpool. I'm torn about it, but I'm going to say Greece are able to do the job at home, and they win 2-1. Another scoreline right already. I think in terms of that, we're already doing better than the last reaction video. It really looked to be a flip of a coin matchup, but I could not ignore the quality that Greece possesses. And I was very right about one player in particular, Bakasetas. He gave Masouras a phenomenal assist for the winning goal in that match. Props to Greece. We'll see if Ireland can bounce back. It definitely has potential for between these two countries for it to be very cagey. And who knows what's going to happen with the Netherlands, because ever since Koeman took charge, it hasn't been looking too promising. Next up, Belarus versus Israel. A shout to Israel for upsetting Brazil in the U20 World Cup. Different squad, of course, but this side is actually very solid. They have some very underrated players here, and I think they're able to beat Belarus here 3-0. All right, somehow in the video I mixed up the home and away for that fixture. Apologies for that. But Israel scraped a very narrow win against Belarus as they scored 2 very late goals, one of them in the 91st minute. Now for Wales versus Armenia, I know Armenia look to have some high hopes as they have a fantastic manager at the moment who previously was in charge of Ukraine, but it's not the same squad, and Wales are fantastic at home. I do think Wales will narrowly be able to do it. I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory. Bravo, Armenia. This was a fantastic win. Wales almost never lose at home, and Armenia scored 4 goals past them. They played some very beautiful football away. That is an incredible achievement, as Zilarayan and Uranos were able to both get a brace. Kiefer Moore with the late red card was definitely not a good look. We'll see how that impacts them for the next match against Turkey. Armenia had quite a few shots off target, but every shot that was on target was converted. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to discredit Armenia in any way possible. This is a fantastic win. But the thing that worries me about this one is that every recent campaign they have faced in the Nations League or the World Cup qualifiers, they have one little spurt of hope where they come out absolutely big and then tank it at the end. I hope this isn't just a little spurt. I hope they can keep going, except against Croatia, obviously, because this will be a phenomenal underdog tale. So many people have ruled out this side. Now for Denmark versus Northern Ireland, Denmark desperately need to pick themselves back up after they were upset by Kazakhstan. What a comeback from that nation, by the way. Despite Halyun scoring a brace in that match, Kazakhstan found a way back till the end. Also talking about Halyun, he was phenomenal throughout that entire international break. He scored 5 goals in 2 matches. I think he can continue to score more against Northern Ireland, and I'm going to say this finishes in a 3-1 win for Denmark. Well, I was wrong about Halyun being on the score sheet, and I thought Denmark would score way more goals, but they still grabbed a 1-0 win. This puts them at the top for now, but genuinely only just, like I said, so many teams in this group have 6 points. Now for Andorra versus Switzerland, Switzerland are flying through in this group, no problem. 3-0 victory against Israel, 5-0 victory against Belarus. I think they're going to put 4 past Andorra. Despite Switzerland looking way more dominant in this match in the stats, they had 85% possession. Andorra had 15. The scoreline did not suggest so. Switzerland grabbed a very narrow 2-1 victory. Now for Gibraltar versus France, despite France being away, I think they'll come out massive here and grab a 6-0 victory. Okay, so I just had to cut that scoreline in half, but yeah, of course, France were able to grab a win against Gibraltar. San Marino versus Kazakhstan. I just talked about that Kazakhstan epic comeback against Denmark. This side seemed to have some solid belief here. San Marino haven't won a competitive match yet, and I don't think it's going to happen here. Kazakhstan looking too solid, and I'm going to say they're able to win here 3-0. All right, the last match of this portion of Matchday 3, I got the scoreline correct. So this is my 3rd scoreline correct so far. It could have been 4 if it weren't for Turkey, man. But I'll take that. That's a solid start, and bravo to Kazakhstan. They just seem to always love scoring those stoppage time goals. Now for Luxembourg versus Liechtenstein. Luxembourg is a very underrated nation that can pull off results at times. I think they're going to come out big here. Lots of teams have been able to take advantage of Liechtenstein. Iceland just beat them 7-0. I'm going to say Luxembourg beat them 5-0. Not much to say here. Luxembourg didn't score as much as I thought they would. Liechtenstein somewhat held their own, even though they were away. Still conceded 2 goals, though. Still a solid win for Luxembourg. Definitely a much-needed win if they want to continue competing with the other teams in this group. For Lithuania versus Bulgaria, Bulgaria desperately need to climb up the ranks. They really couldn't afford to lose to Tsonagora at home, but they did. I'll say they bounced back here. They beat Lithuania 2-1. Massive chance for Bulgaria to claim their first 3 points in this campaign, and they just blew it. It finished in a draw. Lithuania held their own despite Bulgaria looking dominant in the stats. Will Bulgaria be able to pick themselves up? They played more games than Lithuania. They sit at last place in this group at the moment. Now for Montenegro versus Hungary, obviously I'm going to be rooting for Tsonagora here, but this Hungarian side truly looks to be an absolute fighting spirit in Europe. They got a very clean win against Bulgaria 3-0, and I think they're going to continue here. They need to catch up to Serbia. I'm saying they're able to beat Tsonagora 3-1. Very much wrong on this result. It finished in a 0-0 draw, and I gotta say Montenegro played some very nice counter-attacking football. Despite them not scoring, look how many more opportunities they had over Hungary, despite only having 27% possession. If only they could convert, they definitely could have won this match. I am surprised that Hungary could not take advantage. Montenegro helped out their neighbors. Serbia may return the favor if they're able to beat Hungary later on. Now moving on to Azerbaijan versus Estonia, the two massive underdogs in this group. Azerbaijan definitely put a worse display in that first international break. They conceded 9 goals total as they came up against Austria and Sweden. Meanwhile, Estonia put up a very solid fight against Austria despite losing. They held on to a lead for quite some time. So I'm going to say Estonia are able to win here 2-0. They're definitely looking like a more confident side than Azerbaijan at the moment. I'm getting so many results wrong now because we're getting consecutive draws and I keep going for a winner. Like I mentioned, Azerbaijan had a horrendous last international break, but they seem to kind of have a wake-up call and put up a fight against Estonia. Of course, they were the home side. We'll see if they can make a comeback, but it's not a boastful enough of a result for me to be convinced, as Estonia and Azerbaijan are very much the underdogs in this group. Moving on to Norway versus Scotland, this is a massive matchup. Norway have had quite a disappointing international break in the first round of these qualifiers, where they lost to Spain and drew to Georgia. Erling Haaland was injured, which was obviously a massive blow. He has been one of the best players this season, scoring 52 goals across all competitions. Scotland, on the other hand, have had fantastic results in the last break. Scott McTominay was one of the best players in the last international break. He scored a brace in 2 matches against Cyprus and then Spain. They beat Spain 2-0 as well, which was obviously not expected by majority of people. They sit at the top of the group right now with 6 points. Will they crumble though? Both Norway and Scotland are known to bottle these massive opportunities. I don't know if Norway are going to be able to qualify at this point. This was a really bad start because this is a very tough group, but I do think they'll be able to have some glimpse of hope in this international break, especially with Haaland back. I think Norway will gain some hope here and get a narrow win against Scotland at home. They'll beat them 2-1. All right, Scotland proved me wrong once again. After beating Spain and Cyprus in convincing style, they beat Norway in very interesting fashion. The only thing I'll give myself credit for this prediction is I said that Haaland will be a difference maker. And look, he scored the penalty in that match. But as soon as he got subbed off, Scotland scored 2 goals very late on. The first one was just atrocious defending from Norway, let's be honest. Obviously, credit to Dykes for staying composed throughout. Their second goal, though, the game winner from Kenny McLean, was just absolutely stunning team play. 87th and 89th minute. This really just felt like some odd script. Once again, no Haaland, no party. You take him off, you concede. And Norway having an atrocious Euro qualifier campaign. No wins and just 1 draw against Georgia. It's really looking to be that they are going to fail to qualify for this tournament once again. And obviously anything's possible. Norway can shift their form, but Scotland just have such a massive lead at the moment. It would be nuts, absolutely nuts, if they manage to bottle this now. Moving on to Iceland versus Slovakia. I think Slovakia can come out big against Iceland. I'll say they're able to win away 2-0. Okay, Iceland managed to score 1 goal, but at least I am back to getting a winner correct. Now for Faroe Islands versus Czechia. Faroe Islands are obviously not the favorites here, but they randomly score the goals when no one expects them to. I'm saying this is a high-scoring affair, but Czech Republic obviously come out victorious. I'm saying it finishes 4-2. I was right about Czech Republic scoring loads of goals, just was very incorrect about Faroe Islands being able to do much. But bravo to Czechia. Now for Cyprus versus Georgia, I think Georgia can grab a 2-0 win away. Hate to be sleeping on Cyprus, but they're massive underdogs in this. Pretty much the same exact scenario here. No Kvicha scoring, but still Georgia very much did the job. Now for Belgium versus Austria, obviously very much a transitional period period for this national team, but they do have some exciting youngsters stepping up in the ranks, and I think they'll be able to handle Austria. Regardless on how Belgium perform at the World Cup, they always smash it in the qualifiers. I'm going to say they win here 3-1. All right, so for those of you that remember my Matchday 1 and 2 prediction video, I predicted Belgium to fall short to Sweden. Well, it looked like it happened here instead. I knew it was going to happen at least once, and it was a draw. It wasn't even really that much of falling off. But this is a massive result for Austria, despite not closing a win, because 1, they did it against Belgium, the favorites in this group, and 2, although they have a match in hand, they are first in the group. Ralf Rangnick really seems to be a good fit for Austria. I knew this would be the case after seeing how he performed in the Nations League. Yes, he finished 4th, but he had some fantastic fights throughout, and he was in a very difficult group. I do think Austria will be able to qualify for the Euros at the end. Obviously, too early to tell, but they're really having a convincing display so far. Now for Albania versus Moldova, looks like Albania's star striker Broja will still be injured, but I still think they can pull through here. I'm going to say they're a bit scared at one moment, but they still come out on top. They win 2-1. Albania got the clean sheet and scored 2 goals. Much needed win, but they got to hope for 3 points against the likes of Poland or Czechia. And then the final match for match day 3, we still got match day 4 though, Portugal versus Bosnia. I think Bosnia will definitely show their fighting spirits and maybe will try to play for a draw. It could easily happen where it finishes 1-1, but I'm going to say Portugal come out on top 2-1. Not surprised Portugal won. Of course, they were the home side. Bosnia should have played better in that match, though. They had a decent start, I guess, but Portugal were just too strong at the end. With 2 second half Bruno Fernandes finishes. Obviously, it's unfortunate Bosnia had to play Portugal this soon. Hopefully, this result doesn't faze them enough. It is Portugal, the powerhouse of this group. All right, moving on to match day 4. Unfortunately, the Nations League final just happened, but we're not going to talk about it in this video. We're talking strictly about the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Let's just get into it, starting off with Armenia versus Latvia. I do think this is finally Armenia's chance to grab 3 points. Like I said, don't underestimate Latvia, but they have to come out on top at some point. This is their perfect opportunity to at home. I'll say they grab a 3-2 victory here. Yeah, what an incredible international break for Armenia. Like I said, hopefully they can continue. And their win against Wales was obviously even bigger. 6 for 6 points in this break. They very much bounced back after Turkey, and they sit at 2nd in their group at the end of this international break. Now moving on to Ukraine versus Malta. This is Ukraine's perfect opportunity to walk out of this international break feeling successful. I'm going to say they grab a 4-0 win against Malta. Well, this was a great international break for Ukraine in terms of getting 6 for 6 points, but they just squeezed through against Malta, just grabbing a 1-0 victory at home. Regardless, they will take what they can get, and we'll see if they can put off a massive fight against Italy to challenge them for potentially that 2nd place spot. Now for Finland versus San Marino. 5-0 for Finland. Let's do it. 5-0 for Finland. They come out massive here. So close on that scoreline. Just 1 goal off. Finland demolished San Marino. I'm sorry, San Marino, but no massive surprise here. This massive win has Finland at the top with 9 points. And of course, their goal difference is going to be bigger than the rest of the teams in this group, as they have gotten the biggest win against San Marino. Moving on to Switzerland versus Romania. Like I said, Switzerland on an absolute roll, and I already predicted Romania to lose to Kosovo, which is bold, I know, but I'm going to say they lose 2 times this international break. Switzerland should be able to top Romania here. I'm not going to say it's as hefty as the other squadrons they produce. I'll go for 2-0. This scoreline was about to come true. But Mihaya decides to get a brace in the dying minutes, scoring in the 89th and the 92nd minute of the match. 2 out of 3 of Romania's only shots on target. Hey, fair play, Romania. They grabbed 2 draws this international break, which has them undefeated and also just sitting right behind Switzerland. So if Switzerland do get caught slipping once again, Romania can take advantage. But Israel's right behind them, so I'm really looking forward to seeing these 2 sides face each other in the next international break. Next up, Turkey versus Wales. If my predictions at this point are correct, Wales are going into this match undefeated. They're not going to have that incredible home advantage that they usually possess here as they're playing away, but that doesn't matter against Turkey. Turkey are just the most unpredictable national team. Everyone counted on this side to be fantastic in the last Euros, and they absolutely flopped. Not to mention, they also lost to Wales there. So they're already familiar with this Turkish inconsistency, but I do think Turkey will be able to redeem themselves here, especially if they're just falling short to Latvia, as I predicted. I'm going to say Turkey able to grab revenge here, and they're able to beat Wales 2-0. Let's go. Got the 2-0 scoreline correct. Yeah, this is a really bad international break for Wales. A few red cards and 0 points. Turkey in the stats absolutely outplayed them, and it's nice to see Arda Güler get his first international goal for the senior team. This guy's a future star. I'm sure many of you already know about him, but for those of you that don't, just watch out for him. Now for England versus North Macedonia, I want to give Macedonia some benefit. They have had some fantastic results against giants. We've seen it in the World Cup qualifiers, first against Germany, and then they were able to defeat Italy in the playoffs. Will they make one of the giants in this group struggle? I don't see it against England. They're just looking way too good. They always just killed in the qualifiers as well. So I'm going to say England obliterate them. I'm sorry, Macedonia. I think England are able to win here 4-0. Well, I was right about the obliteration, but by even more goals, Macedonia took a hefty loss to England away. 7-0. With a Kane brace and a Saka hat-trick, England were on absolute fire. Macedonia legit had 0 opportunities the entire match. England absolutely outplayed them in every single way. Now, taking a look at Northern Ireland versus Kazakhstan, I've been praising Kazakhstan for their incredible efforts so far. Kazakhstan look to be the favorites even if they're away based on their form right now. I'm going to say it's going to be a bit narrow, 2-1. It was a bit narrow, but it was just 1-0. Bravo to Kazakhstan for grabbing the win though. You got to praise this national team as they really have not had much success in their history, but they've just been promoted to League B in the Nations League, and now they are competing to qualify for the Euros automatically. They are tied at the top with Finland on points. I said Group I would be the group of life, but Group H looks to be more the case. Many of the teams seems to catch one another slipping at some point, which really is going to make this go down to the wire. Hopefully, we'll see if one team can end up just cruising through to the top. But right now, it's an intense battle, and Kazakhstan look to be a massive threat. The fact that this side is a genuine competitor and beating some incredible national teams, though, after just such a short notice as well. So many people rule off this side so easily. Shout out to Kazakhstan. Now for Ireland versus Gibraltar, this is Ireland's perfect time to grab 3 points. Sorry, Gibraltar. I think Ireland will be able to win 3-0. Holy shit, another scoreline correct. I was not expecting to get this many after the last video. Gibraltar looked to be getting demolished by every single team in this group, and Ireland have bounced back after getting unlucky against France and then just falling short to Greece. They still have a tough road ahead of them. They still have to play Netherlands. However, Netherlands are not in their best form, so maybe we could see Ireland upset these guys in the next break. Now for France versus Greece, France on a roll. I don't think Greece for some reason will make France struggle as much as Ireland did. I'm going to say that it finishes in a 2-0 victory for the French. 1-0 victory for France off of just one penalty. Greece actually played very well, and the penalty was initially saved, but it had to be retaken, and Mbappe scored. Very unlucky for Greece as they could have salvaged a point in this. Now for Israel versus Andorra, I'm going to say Israel able to grab another 2-0 win. It should have been better from Israel, but they still grabbed the 3 points. Slovenia versus Denmark, this is tough. We've seen Denmark already slip to Kazakhstan. Slovenia are the home side, have had a strong start, and Denmark were really disappointing in the World Cup, I know, but I do think they will bounce back here. That loss to Kazakhstan was a massive wake-up call, and I do think they'll be able to defeat Slovenia 3-1. Well, apparently not. Despite Højlund still being on the score sheet, Denmark were not able to grab 3 for 3 points. They grabbed just 1 away against Slovenia. I initially predicted both of these countries to qualify for the Euros at the end. Very much still possible despite Finland and Kazakhstan being at the top. Now for Belarus versus Kosovo, if I'm wrong about the last prediction, you better do it here. And I'm going to say they do, just like the last match, it finishes 3-1. I hyped you guys up so hard, and you lost to Belarus. No disrespect to Belarus, but they were easy to write off in this, and they still seem to lack that goal-scoring threat. Their only goal in this match was a penalty. Kosovo being undefeated at least had something to be boastful about, but now they're not. No wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss puts them at 5th place in the quote-unquote group of life. I went bold and said that they could get second, but it just looks to be out of the question based on the way they're playing. Now for Bulgaria versus Serbia. Serbia, massive favorites on paper here. Bulgaria definitely not at their peak at the moment. Serbia's attack looking absolutely dangerous, of course. They grabbed 2 2-0 victories in the last international break. I do think they could have done even a tad bit better, to be honest, considering their opponents. And I don't know, I see it being the exact same scoreline here. Serbia were definitely not the peak of their performance, and their attack was definitely not looking electric. As in general, they played some messy football. Players didn't look super motivated until the very end when Lazovic scored in the 96th minute. Yes, they were down for most of the match ever since Despodov scored. Bulgaria looked to secure their first 3 points. No disrespect to Bulgaria, but they are very much not in form. So the fact that Serbia could not take advantage of that really just shows shows that it should have been better. For Iceland versus Portugal, I'll be pretty brief on this. Sorry, Iceland, but I think Portugal will continue to smash it. Roberto Martinez has excellent qualifier experiences, and this is a very doable group for him, so I'm going for 3-0. Wow, Portugal's most narrow win in this qualifier campaign so far. It finished 1-0, but this match was all highlighted around Cristiano Ronaldo, and deservingly so. This was his 200th appearance for the national team. No other player has had that milestone in their career. And he was the hero as well, scoring the only goal in the match in the 89th minute. So just like many other instances throughout his career, he deservingly earned the spotlight. And Portugal leaves this international break still undefeated in their group with 4-for-4 wins. Norway versus Cyprus. This could age terribly. The more specific you are on your predictions, the better of a chance it could terribly age. But I'm going to say they struggle at the beginning. Then later on, score 2 late goals. It finishes 2-0. I shouldn't have been so specific, but I still got Norway winning correct. So Balkan with an early goal, and then Holland with the brace midway through the match. But Norway should not be happy about this international break performance despite beating Cyprus. Sure, they're above Spain in the table at the moment, but Spain are 2 matches behind as they were just in the Nations League final and won the whole thing. Now for Hungary versus Lithuania, I think they're going to smash Lithuania here. I'm going to say Lithuania somehow score a goal, but it finishes 5-1. Despite getting loads and loads of chances, 27 shots in total from Hungary in this match, they scored 2 goals. Not the most clinical, but they got the 3 points at the end. And due to the fact that Serbia drew to Bulgaria, they have caught up with Serbia on points. Also, they now have first in the group. So again, it's just going to make that matchup between Hungary and Serbia even more intense in the next international break. Cannot wait for it, of course. Bosnia versus Luxembourg. Despite Luxembourg being extremely underrated and they could make Bosnia struggle here, I think they will redeem themselves after potentially losing to Portugal. Who knows? I really hope Bosnia prove me wrong on that statement, but I am going to say they're able to win at home 3-1. All right, this has got to be one of the worst results this international break. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to Luxembourg. I've already known that they are an extremely underrated side and randomly put off incredible fights. They got a very deservingly away win. But Bosnia, you gotta do better. The national team played so terribly that the home fans of this match started cheering for Luxembourg. This was a massive win for Luxembourg as now they are 4 points ahead of Bosnia in the standings. Them and Slovakia have simply been much better so far in this qualifier campaign. I guess that's what happens when Ahmed Hodzic is not playing, but this national team got too confident in the beginning, and now this match is over, it is officially confirmed. This week in the Euro qualifiers, not a single team from ex-Yugoslavia won a match. And I gotta say, I think out of all the national teams from ex-Yugoslavia, Bosnia might have been the most disappointing. Now for Austria versus Sweden, this is very tough to predict. Sweden did already get obliterated to Belgium, but Austria could be next. This one's a flip of a coin in my opinion, and whoever loses can still have a chance to bounce back. A winner here is definitely possible, but I am going to predict a draw. I'm going to say this finishes 1-1. Okay, these draws are obviously screwing with my predictions. If I was going to go for winner, I was leaning towards Austria. I should have. But yeah, props to them for beating Sweden at home. Absolutely dominated them in the stats, and this is a massive win for them as they are above Belgium in the standings. Both of them are undefeated, but Austria have played more matches, which puts them up top by 3 points. Now for Moldova versus Poland, this is the perfect opportunity for Fernando Santos to bounce back. I guess he did against Albania narrowly, but before then, he lost to Czech Republic 3-1. I think Poland will be able to grab the 3 points, and although they should be beating Moldova by maybe more, he is going to struggle here a bit once again. So I'm going to say it is once again just a 1-0 victory. Okay, wait, I take it back. Maybe the Bosnia-Luxembourg match wasn't the worst out of the bunch. This is probably one of the most embarrassing displays. I'm sorry, Poland. I gotta call you out. You blew a 2-0 lead to the 5th worst national team in Europe. Shout out to Moldova, of course. They put off an absolutely incredible fighting spirit. They're 171st in the rankings of FIFA, and they have beaten a side that made it to the knockouts of the World Cup. This right here has got to be the upset of the week, as Poland can bounce back, but they are in 4th place at the moment. What the hell has Fernando Santos done? I told you guys last year that he is a liability for the Portugal national team, and unfortunately he's getting very much exposed with Poland. They have some absolutely brilliant individuals, but why could they not stay clicked and composed against the 5th worst national team in Europe? Hey, I'm not necessarily complaining. Shout out to Moldova. I was expecting this side to get absolute dead last, and I still think it's going to be a tough lead for them to qualify for the tournament, but we'll see what confidence this brings them now. For Scotland versus Georgia, I'm sure everyone from Scotland's really hoping that I doubt this side once again, but I'm going to say they're able to beat Georgia here. They're the home side. Even if they fall short to Norway, they're going to bounce back. Who knows, potentially another McTominay brace. I'm going to say Scotland are able to win here 2-0. All right, let's go. I got a Scotland prediction right, and the scoreline as well. Finally. This now means that they have beaten every single team in their group. And you really got to give this side absolute praise. And Scotland are dominating it by a long shot. All these teams have so much work to do to catch up. Them, along with England, France, and Portugal, are the only countries to have 4-for-4 wins so far. But this group isn't easy, and Scotland aren't necessarily known to be a European giant. So this, in my opinion, is by far the most impressive side in this qualifier campaign so far. No denying it. As long as Scotland doesn't get ahead of themselves, I'm almost positive that they will qualify for the tournament now. Moving on to Estonia versus Belgium, I see this one finishing 3-1. Too much belief in Estonia, but I was close enough on that one. Moving forward to Faroe Islands versus Albania. Faroe Islands, I'm telling you, just randomly pulled through. I'm not going to go for them grabbing 3 points, but they halt Albania here. It finishes in a 0-0 draw. Easy one to not get correct. Albania get a very solid win against Faroe Islands. I just thought this would be my quote-unquote upset here, but Albania proved me wrong. And yeah, like you've already probably seen, they have a decent spot in the group as Poland have fallen off hard. They're in second place just behind Czechia. Bravo Albania, obviously not upset that I got that wrong. And the final match we're looking at, Liechtenstein versus Slovakia. I will say Slovakia maybe don't do as much damage as they should, but they still grab a 2-0 victory. Damn, they definitely didn't do as much damage as they should. Liechtenstein kind of picked themselves up in terms of not conceding loads of goals compared to the last international break. Just a 1-0 defeat. Okay. All right, guys, that is the end of this reaction video for the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Match days 3 and 4. Didn't do terrifically. Didn't do as poorly as it could have been, but still some shockers in this international break, without a doubt. Here's my overall score, but let me know how you guys did in the comments below as always, and let me know your thoughts on how your national team did. What's the biggest upset in this? I definitely got to say Moldova, Poland. Cannot wait for September to roll around. Lots of anticipated matchups there, and then we're also going to be seeing the return of Croatia, Italy, Netherlands, and Spain, as we couldn't see them because of the Nations League. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Laku noć.